Okay? So they went a long way. Now this next part, I'm going to back up here to where they talk about the man. Okay? And I'm going to warn you, I'm going to put it out there anyway. But it's sick. Okay? It's a little disturbing.
Oh, God.
When I say a little disturbing, I mean it's sick. Okay? So I'm forewarning you, but this is fact. All right? What do you do to dogs or cats or pigs or any other animal that you don't want to reproduce? What do you do to the males? You castrate them. Okay? So the Chinese had a long history, and they're not the only ones that did this. They're not the only civilization, but the Chinese have a history, and this is one example of taking young men and putting them in positions either for slave labor or for this guy, he was able to rise through the ranks, right? He was trusted. But to curtail, to curb their ambition and their desire to have families and all this stuff, they would castrate them. It's sick. They treated them like slaves. I mean, that's exactly how they treat. That's what they were essentially. So let's read about this poor young guy that ended up being quite successful and has. I mean, we're still talking about him hundreds of years later, right? Yeah. I feel bad for him though. But it says the greatest Chinese naval explorer. Talks about that. He says he was the son of Chinese Muslims. There's also a long history that continues today, unfortunately, thank you, of China, Han Chinese. Remember, the Han Chinese are the predominant ethnic group in China, yes? Okay. There's a long history of them not having good relations with the Muslims out west. Okay? So he was a Chinese Muslim, and as a youth, he was among the boys whom the Chinese government captured, castrated, and sent into the army. Okay? They're not as distracted, you could imagine, by other things. They're going to be very focused. Another name given to castrated men is eunuchs. Okay? As a youth, he distinguished himself, though, as a junior officer. He was skilled in both warfare and diplomacy. He also made influential friends at the Chinese court. Eunuchs had long functioned as political advisors to the emperors. Again, the emperors didn't feel as threatened by eunuchs. Something happens to testosterone levels and ambition among men when they're castrated. Again, I'm sorry, I know it's not a fun topic to discuss, so we'll move on.